Released for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita on March 10, 2016 in Japan, October 31, 2017 in North America, and November 15, 2017 in Europe, we have Summer Night 6: Lost Borders. As a series, Summer Night has been a very niche series in the Western market, having only 5 of the 13 games in the series being released outside of Japan, with 3 of them being spin-off titles. Developed by Mediavision and published by Bandai Namco in Japan and Gaijin Works in the West, the latter is responsible for also bringing over Summer Night 5 to the PSP in 2015. The original developer for Summer Nights 1-4, Flight Plan, sadly went defunct in 2010. The game, much like other main Summer Night games, is a tactical strategy RPG. In Summer Night 6 you begin by playing as a young, optimistic man named Raj. Raj is an inhabitant of the Cocoon World Fallujah, which he shares with his companion Patch. Raj survives in the world by scavenging items that randomly fall from the sky into Fallujah, and for a time, life is simple. One day, while Raj is investigating something that had fallen from the sky, he's shocked to see that other people had fallen into Fallujah, and his journey to help them get back home to Lindbaum begins. Summer Night 6 also features other main characters, and you'll get to see events of the game through Raj, a young woman named Amu and her companion Quilt, who had been sharing the same circumstances as Raj, and finally the mysterious Ist and his companion Linen. After playing through several chapters as each character, you'll be presented with the choice to experience the events from either Raj or Amu's perspective. Outside of Raj, Amu and Ist, all of the playable characters in Summer Night 6 hail from the other 5 main Summer Night games. But is this game any good? Find out in The Good. One thing I liked about Summer Night 6 was the interactions between all the characters. In between story battles, you get a little bit of insight as to how all these different characters from the main games interact with one another, as well as your main character. This can get quite interesting as certain characters appear in more than one game, and other characters, or who they're associated with, are known by one another. Some of these interactions take place over several chapters, telling a mini story of sorts. The night conversation feature that the series has been well known for also makes a return, with your main character having an opportunity to grow closer to other characters and build relationships with them, which can lead up to several different endings. The game also features a gallery option where rewards from fighting in battles or participating in other activities can unlock information about characters from all of the Summer Night games, including the spin-offs. I found this to be very handy, especially since the West didn't get localized versions of a majority of the games, or for people new to the series who didn't have any idea who these characters are. Characters appearing in more than one game isn't unusual for the Summer Night series, and a relatable example would be Summer Night Swordcraft Story 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Advance, having characters from Summer Night 1 and 2 respectively making appearances in them. I liked the minigames that were in Summer Night 6. The game has a basic fishing minigame where you hit the button rapidly to catch a fish, or if your timing is good enough, the game will do it for you. There's also a missions minigame where you select 3 characters and watch them automatically battle waves of enemies and open chests. And there's the Endless Domain where your party can fight enemies on a map. While there are free battles which are essentially the same thing, the Endless Domain provides a bigger challenge as the enemies grow stronger the deeper you go. The minigames and features added to Summer Night 6 certainly made the game a little bit more interesting. The combat in Summer Night 6 was something I also enjoyed. You could have up to 8 characters participating in battle to defeat the enemy. When each enemy is defeated, the character who dealt the finishing blow gains skill points or SP, with the character dealing the blow to finish the map getting bonus SP, provided that they're on your team, as guest characters don't count. SP can be invested in raising the stats of characters as well as weapon, support or guard skills. At the end of battle you're awarded a sum of experience points which you can share among the 8 characters that played a part in the battle. Experience points can be saved up and is quite handy if you plan on leveling your characters equally. Upon leveling up, a character will gain skill points and you can choose to increase their stats by investing a separate series of points onto them. If you really wanted, battles can also be set to run automatically, so people who don't particularly like grinding in video games can set the battle to auto, go and do something else, and have the battle finished for them. Summoning in the game is done through Summer Night leaves, and each character has certain summons that they share or have access to. Summons can provide damage to the enemy, supporting or healing effects, or can enter the battle as its own entity. Characters within range of one another can also provide assistance in order to increase the damage of the summon's attack. If an enemy is in the range of the 2 characters, there's also a chance an attack assist can happen as well. Two characters can also execute a burst summon which will call out a very powerful creature at the expense of a lot of MP. These burst summons also have a larger area of effect, so they're really handy if you're in a pinch or need to clear out multiple enemies. Just bear in mind that your own allies can be hurt by this. Weapons and summons can be upgraded at the blacksmith by providing money and materials that you gain from opening chests on the map or completing battles. Unfortunately, all things good need to come to an end, and from here we move on to the bad. I can't say I really liked the English voice acting. I tend to play a majority of my JRPGs with Japanese voices if possible, but I'm easy with English voices if that's my only option. I can understand why Gaijin Works decided not to go for dual languages, as it would add costs to the localization process. However, the English voice acting of Summer Night 6 I found to be less than desirable. Some of the voices just didn't seem to fit, as per the following examples.
You were pretty far down the road to Crazy Town before 80 helped you out.
80? You?
Yes, it's me.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. What's going on here?
You don't remember anything?
No, I do, in a very vague way. Only bits and pieces. What is this world anyway?
You're asking the right questions, but we don't have the answer either. We're still trying to figure that out. All of us.
What's this?
Too bad, so sad.
Who would call themselves evil? Why not just Demon King? And what is this all about anyway?
Thankfully, not all scenes are voiced, and it's not the worst voice acting I've heard in video games, but there's certainly a lot better out there. The game even throws in voice outtakes after the credits, and admittedly while listening to them, at least the voice actors and actresses had fun voicing them.
A trivial challenge for the Great Bonosa! Let me adjust my nipple shields. Seriously, I don't think my nipples are in the right spot. Who drew this? Who drew my nipples in the wrong spot? I think they should be a little bit lower and more to the outside.
In terms of difficulty, I found that the game was a little on the easy side. I was able to have the game completed with my characters around levels 30 to 35, with the big bad the characters were all concerned about doing little amounts of damage most of the time. The few times I had to heal my characters, I wasn't really in any dire situations, and it was mostly on characters I was trying to level up at the time. While I did praise the auto battle feature earlier, I found at times that it wouldn't get my characters to proceed. Instead, they all stood around this one particular area or moved about with no indication of moving on to the next enemy, thus forcing me to do it for them. If you invested your character's stats correctly in the game, you'll generally find that most of the enemies you'll be facing are absolute pushovers, especially when you start abusing one of Raj's skills, which will enable them to move several times in one turn. With the connect ability, which enables adjacent characters to move with one another, Raj can essentially transport a friend with him to quickly finish a stage. That's all I really have to share with the bad, so let's wrap things up with the opinion. By all means, Summer Night 6 isn't a bad game from a gameplay perspective. I like the combat, I like the minigames, and I like how the characters interacted with one another. The major gripe I had was with its voice acting, but it's something I was prepared to overlook based off the merits of the gameplay and character building. That, and the game was a little bit on the easier side. The Swordcraft story games on the Game Boy Advance provided a better challenge in my opinion, and I would definitely recommend checking those out. Summer Night 6 is a love letter to fans of the series, though I can see a lot of people wouldn't be familiar with the majority of the characters given its niche following outside of Japan, and I think the game is certainly worth giving a go, especially if you like JRPGs and tactical strategy games. So with that, it's time for my rating. Summer Night 6 Lost Borders gets a sack of potatoes out of 10. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.